Antes de iniciar, entonces, vamos a escuchar las notas del himno de nuestra alma mater, la Unidad Central del Valle del Cauca, UCEBA.
Now, before we begin, we are going to listen to the hymn of our alma mater, Unidad Central del Valle del Cauca, UCEBA.
Vamos firmes al futuro, el mañana conquista, porque estamos orgullosos de nuestra universidad. Vamos firmes al futuro, el mañana conquista, porque estamos orgullosos de nuestra universidad. En el centro del Valle del Cauca se levanta imponente y audaz el fanal que el camino señala y que orienta una raza tenaz. Se forjó en las entrañas del pueblo y con fiebre inició el palpitar. En su lucha de amor y talento fue su meta constante triunfar. Vamos firmes al futuro, el mañana conquista, porque estamos orgullosos de nuestra universidad. Vamos firmes al futuro, el mañana conquista, porque estamos orgullosos de nuestra universidad. En el centro del Valle del Cauca se levanta imponente y audaz el fanal que el camino señala y que orienta una raza de nada. Se forjó en las entrañas del pueblo y con fiebre inició el palpitar. En su lucha de amor y talento fue su meta constante triunfar.
A continuación, invitamos a la decana de la Facultad de Ciencias de la Educación, doctora María Elisa Álvarez, para que haga la apertura oficial de nuestro congreso.
We invite the Dean of the Faculty of Educational Sciences, Dr. Álvarez, to officially open our Congress.
Muy buena tarde. Es un honor como decana de la Facultad de Educación ofrecerle a ustedes un saludo por parte de las directivas de nuestra institución y hacer la apertura de este segundo Congreso Internacional de Lenguas Extranjeras. Ofrezco igualmente un saludo especial a los ponentes, tanto nacionales como internacionales. Igualmente a los coordinadores, a la coordinadora Lice Ramos, coordinadora de la licenciatura en lenguas extranjeras, y al coordinador de la maestría en bilingüismo y educación. Y por supuesto, al equipo organizador de este evento, que son todos los docentes del programa de lenguas de la Facultad de Educación de la UCEBA. Y a ustedes, estudiantes que están participando en este evento tan importante, tan significativo y que cada vez se empodera más en la comunidad académica, trascendiendo con este tipo de espacios de reflexión. Igualmente, un saludo a todas las personas que están participando, académicos e interesados en estos temas que tienen que ver precisamente con lo que nos convoca hoy en este espacio, que aunque sea un espacio virtual, que acorta distancias. Es un espacio bastante interesante que nos permite y nos permitirá compartir experiencias significativas e innovadoras, pero además estrechar relaciones que cruzan fronteras, que por supuesto permiten superar las barreras idiomáticas y sobre todo enriquecer los procesos interculturales. Bienvenidos y doy apertura con estas palabras a este magno evento. Muy buena tarde.
Muchas gracias, doctora María Elisa Álvarez, por sus palabras.
Thank you so much, Dr. Álvarez, for your words.
Enseguida invitamos a la coordinadora del programa, Magister Lisette Ramos Acosta, para que dirija unas palabras también a este auditorio.
And now we invite the program coordinator, Magister Lisette Ramos, to address some words to the Congress attendees.
Well, thank you very much. On behalf of the Faculty of Education, the Master's degree in Bilingualism and Education, and the Bachelor of Arts in Foreign Languages, I would like to thank you all for being here with us in our second International Congress on Research and Pedagogical Innovation. This time, we decided to emphasize on research and the implications in pedagogical practices. This means that our special guests will provide different insights on the topics that we have selected for our Congress. Also, I want to thank our sponsor, Pearson Education, and our special guests from different universities around the world. We have different presenters from Lipscomb University, Monash University, Universidad del Valle, and Universidad de Caldas. You will all have the opportunity to interact with our special guests, and we have also attendees from different parts of Colombia and even outside Colombia. So this is a great opportunity for all of us to share experiences and knowledge on research and pedagogical innovation. So thank you very much for attending our Congress.
Muchas gracias a la Magister Lisette Ramos por sus palabras.
Thank you so much, Magister Lisette Ramos, for your words.
Antes de dar paso a las conferencias, les recordamos que a las 8 en punto nos encontraremos de nuevo en este mismo enlace para rendir un merecido homenaje al maestro Gustavo Jaramillo Tascón. Recuerden, a las 8 en punto, de nuevo en este enlace para el homenaje al maestro Gustavo Adolfo Jaramillo Tascón.
Before starting the conferences, we remind you that at 8 o'clock we will meet again at this same link to pay a well-deserved tribute to the Master Gustavo Adolfo Jaramillo Tascón.
Iniciamos entonces esta jornada con la conferencia titulada Mindfulness como herramienta de evaluación a cargo de la Magister Mónica Rodríguez de la Universidad de California, Pearson, quien es profesora graduada de inglés y traductora pública. Tiene un posgrado en gestión de recursos humanos y está certificada y acreditada como entrenadora de neurolenguaje. Mónica también es practicante de Mindfulness graduada de la Universidad de California y tiene un diploma en aprendizaje social y emocional de la Universidad de San Diego. Como formadora de profesores, ha impartido cursos de desarrollo profesional sobre diversos temas. Se especializa en aprendizaje social y emocional y Mindfulness para la educación. Actualmente dirige su propia institución educativa, Inspired Consultora Educativa. Ha realizado numerosas presentaciones en Argentina, Uruguay, Chile, Colombia, Brasil, Reino Unido, Perú, Alemania, Francia y Estados Unidos, con sesiones plenarias, semiplenarias y talleres. Es autora de 3 proyectos de aprendizaje social y emocional para diferentes niveles y libros.
Then we start this event with the conference entitled Mindfulness as a Tool for Assessment. in charge of Magister Mónica Rodriguez from University of California, Pearson. She is a graduate teacher of English and a strong public translator. She holds a postgraduate degree in Human Resources Management and is a certified and accredited neurolanguage coach. Mónica is also a mindfulness practitioner graduated from University of California and holds a diploma in social and emotional learning from San Diego University. As teacher trainer, she has delivered professional development courses on various topics. She specializes in social and emotional learning and mindfulness for education. She currently runs her own educational institution, Inspired Consultora Educativa. She has presented extensively in Argentina, Uruguay, Chile, Colombia, Brazil, UK, Peru, Germany, France, and United States with plenary, semi-plenary, and workshop sessions. She has authored 3 social and emotional learning projects for different levels and books.
Bienvenida, Magister Mónica Rodríguez.
Let's welcome Magister Mónica Rodriguez.
Hello, everybody. Hello, my dear people from Colombia. I'm sorry that it took me a lot to be able to join this session. It's full of people, so apparently I couldn't join. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Pearson, for this opportunity. I miss very much being able to join you face-to-face in Colombia. So thank you, Useva, once again also for this session. And let me get started. I guess I needed all my mindfulness breathing today not to go crazy at the beginning of the session because I could not join you. So here I am. Let me just share my presentation with you. And every now and then I will be coming back to the chat so as to check with you how you're feeling, if you've got questions, if we can move forward, and so on. So I'm ready now to share my presentation with you. I will please ask all the team at Useva to please confirm if you can see my presentation right now.
Yes.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Perfect, fantastic. Thank you so much. So the idea today is to reflect together, to build some knowledge together about mindfulness and assessment. My name is Mónica Rodríguez Salvo. I'm from Argentina. And again, what we'll be sharing today, some ideas related to mindfulness in education. What are the benefits both for teachers and students? Maybe you have heard about mindfulness, but not in the field of education. We'll talk about the importance of emotions and emotional regulation, how mindfulness exercises and mindfulness for education might help our students reduce their levels of stress, anxiety related to any test instance, to any assessment situation. We'll talk a little bit about self-compassion and evidence of impact. And at the very end of our session today, I have a little surprise prepared, especially for you, my dear teachers of Colombia. So let's get started. What is mindfulness? This is a traditional definition of mindfulness by Jon Kabat-Zinn. As you know, he is definitely one of the most globally recognized specialists in mindfulness. And he says that it's the awareness that emerges through paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally, to the unfolding of experience moment by moment. So if you try to put it a little bit simply, what we could say is that mindfulness is about connection, is about being connected to the present moment. And of course, it has many, many benefits in terms of mindfulness in the educational world. When we talk about mindfulness, we are talking about concentration, clarity, and equanimity. So today, I will focus on mindfulness as a secular tool, as an educational tool to help us teachers regulate our emotions, to help our students decrease their levels of anxiety, not only during their test situations, but also during test preparation periods. We'll also focus on how mindfulness boost engagement, resilience, self-reflection, and help us concentrate better. So it's not only at the moment of the test itself, but during preparation as well, that this is extremely important. So I want to start demystifying some ideas about mindfulness. Okay, so today I will share 6 basic ideas. In this first part of my presentation, I will go through the 3 first, and then in the second part, the 3 others that I prepared today. Idea number 1, mindfulness helps us, as I said before, improve our concentration and focus, and it contributes to emotion management, emotional regulation, self-regulation of our emotions, which is extremely important at the moment of test itself. The second idea, idea number 2, we are having today a secular approach. I will not focus today on all the benefits of mindfulness in terms of meditation, in terms of well-being, and so on. But my idea today is to be quite pragmatic in terms of its approach and benefits to education. That's why I'll be sharing throughout my presentation some research studies, some evidence of impact in terms of the, I would say, integrative relation between mindfulness and assessment. Idea number 3, it does improve results in terms of decreasing test anxiety. So let me ask you, my dear teachers from Colombia, what do you think are the most, and you can share these ideas in the chat with me, what do you think are the most important challenges and barriers that our students face when they have to sit for an exam? What are those aspects that are extremely important to consider when facing an assessment situation? Of course, they need to study. Okay, mindfulness will not replace academic performance, but it might create an emotional environment that is conducive to better academic performance. Okay, so why don't you share with me in the chat what you think are the most critical areas when we talk about assessments and our students' assessments. Let me just open the chat so I can read your comments here. What are the most important challenges that you recognize in terms of assessments and when our students have to sit for exams? Let's see your comments in the chat. I will confirm in the meantime, Pearson people, that we are okay. And I will read your chat, your comments. Pressure, anxiety, motivation. Yes, they get on their nerves, basically. Yes, Maria Camila, I agree with you. Yes, they feel very nervous, right? They feel very, we all do. And this also comes to us understanding that there are different types of stress. The stress you are referring to in your comments is what we call de-stress. In general, we associate the term stress with something that is negative, but there is a type of stress that is not detrimental to our health, and is this kind of stress that helps us go for more, that helps us improve our performance, that helps us reach excellence in everything we do. But of course, as students feel all these emotions that you are sharing with me in the chat. And these are, for example, all the emotions that I was feeling when I couldn't connect, when I was ready to share the ideas with you and I could not connect today. So now that we have gone online and that our educational life has changed so much, this is even more the case, yeah, because we cannot probably help our students as we would like to. But let me share with you that all these ideas I will be building together with you in this session can be applied both face-to-face or online, and I will give you some ideas for both. So these are, as I said before, my first 3 basic recommendations about mindfulness in education, okay? Test anxiety, this is precisely what you were mentioning in the chat. And we know that test anxiety is a bidimensional construct. We have affective components, and we also have cognitive components. Among affective components, emotional components, fear, nervousness, physical discomfort, anxiety, feeling nervous, as you said in the chat, all those emotions that we all feel when we go through feeling under pressure, precisely. But then we've got cognitive components that are related to feeling worry about especially results of those tests. If we think in a broader sense, we need to consider that in many cases, some, for example, international certifications might affect our lives directly, for example, by not being able to enter a university, by not being able to join a master's abroad, for example. So these are more cognitive components that are related to how does the results of the test affect my life and affect different aspects of our lives. So this is, according to this research, the two most important components of test anxiety. And I will give you some seconds for you to read this, that is the conclusion of this piece of research in 2010. So we'll give you some seconds for you to read carefully these outcomes from this piece of research. So what is being highlighted here is that student achievements can definitely be improved by educating students about handling stress situations in academic life. This is this question of training, educating students about the different notions of stress, how our brain works, neuroscience, brain science, and so on. And that if they can manage better their emotional anxiety, it can assist in improved academic achievements and test achievements. So what is being here suggested is this idea of grooming students in skills that would help them regulate their emotions, basically. So this is a conclusion of this very interesting piece of research. And when we talk about these skills, about grooming our students in the development of these skills, we are focusing on three different areas. Three different types of skills. First of all, emotional skills, skills of the heart, emotional strength, such as empathy, gratitude, kindness, diversity, compassion, and especially self-compassion. Skills of the mind, those cognitive abilities that help us, again, concentrate and focus, improve our thought processes, everything that is related to our intellect. And of course, very, and I would say extremely important during test preparation processes, our endurance strengths, our endurance skills related to resilience, dealing with frustration, grit, and all these skills that are absolutely essential, okay? So skills of the heart, skills of the mind, strengths of the will, skills of the will are also part of academic performance. And we know that through more than 20 years of research in the field, okay? So my question now is, how do you feel so far? Have you got any questions about these first ideas? Any new idea that you're taking so far? So we've got our traffic lights here. Red lights is about how you're feeling right now. So we get in the mood a little bit. Have you got any questions about what I've shared so far? I've shared some research. I've shared the different skills, skills of the heart, skills of the mind, skills of the will. And I've also shared the first three basic ideas about mindfulness in education. So any color, you can pick any color and share with me in the chat, red, yellow, or green. I will give you just a couple of seconds for that before we move forward. And my dear teachers, we are moving forward into hands-on activities for different ages and for different delivery methods, online, face-to-face, blended. So red, yellow, or green? I will go back so that I can read your comments in the chat. Going back to the presentation, just in case you need it. Red, yellow, or light green in this case. If you'd like to share questions, feelings, emotions, any new idea so far. Let's see what you have to say. Oh, have a look at this. I love this comment. Peace of mind, security, and education must go hand in hand. I could not agree more with this comment, Maria Camila. Education is about providing a safe, nurturing environment for learning, precisely. And of course, any test situation is a result of a whole process. But the more secure our students, emotionally secure, I would say, emotionally reinforced our students feel, the more these will be conducive, again, to a test situation that would be more attuned to their real skills, right? Green, another green from Jose. A student that has not got a mental health can't learn correctly. And I would take it even further, Jose, if you allow me. Any student that is emotionally compromised cannot learn anything and cannot pass a test or cannot get the results he could have got if his emotional state was different. Yeah. So I would go further into that. I mean, moving beyond assessment, no learning happens if we've got a student that is emotionally compromised. How many times, dear teachers, you've faced this situation in class? Students that are extremely frustrated, that are absolutely hijacked by an emotion, and they cannot move forward. Let me just share with you a personal experience. I was in 3rd grade. I have psoriasis. Yes, I got psoriasis, the disease on my skin. So I've always suffered all sorts and levels of bullying throughout my student life. And I remember being in 3rd grade, and this was the day that the teacher introduced the first notions of multiplying. And I had been, I had suffered that day quite an episode, quite a bullying episode. And I was absolutely emotionally compromised. I'm telling you, I could not understand a word of what the teacher was saying. And I would say that I just could not care less. I felt so sad. I felt so angry. I felt so hurt that I couldn't care less about these ideas of multiplying. And the teacher sort of realized, I remember that day, and he came to me and she said, "What's going on?" And I said, "I cannot understand what you're explaining." And she said, "There is something wrong with you. Are you okay?" And I said, "I'm not okay." So of course then, I mean, I had no difficulty in terms of cognitive understanding of what multiplying was about, but I was emotionally compromised. I could not learn anything that day, right? So just a personal example to exemplify what you're saying. Stephen is saying, sorry, Maria Camila is saying, education is designed for students and teachers to enjoy, not to feel it like a jail. That's my wish, Maria Camila. I dream about an education that does not feel like a jail, but it feels more like wings, right? Stephen, Green, teaching how to improve these skills in our students will help them also in real life situations, not just exams. Absolutely, Stephen, what we are talking, what I would like to share with you today is about life skills development. Okay, let me move forward because I want to start working, getting hands-on and practical with you. We'll do an exercise together if you join me. So this is an invitation for one of the exercises that I want to share with you, teachers Of course, then you can just recreate these into exercises with your students. But my idea now is to invite you to do a grounding exercise. And for this, I will invite you to take your shoes off. This is exactly what I'm doing right now, so as to guide you through this very short grounding exercise that I do recommend we teachers do during the day to create these healthy pockets of well-being that our mental health requires during these times of crisis. We are teaching so many hours. We are in front of the computer for such a long time during the day. We really need our brain breaks during the day so as to keep up with our well-being, to keep up with our energy, and to be available for our students. So this grounding exercise, I will invite you to do this together. If you feel, I will invite you to stand up. I don't know if you can see me well because I cannot see the camera, but the idea is I will ask you to stand up. Start moving your arms freely. Let them hang. Yes, no prerequisites, no specific movements required. And now I will ask you to move your hands and your wrists. Small circles in one direction and the other. And now we'll start with the grounding exercise. So if you feel comfortable, only if you do, you can close your eyes, or if not, you can just fix your gaze on a point on the floor. Lower your gaze. And I will ask you to just feel your breathing at this moment. Feel the movements that your breathing creates, how something seems to be expanding during inhale and contracting during the exhale. And now try to bring your attention, just your attention, to your feet, to the sole of your feet, your toes connecting to the ground, and coordinating with your breathing. Try to move a little bit as if you were kind of rocking yourselves over, weighting the lift and lifting your body weight from your toes to the different parts of your feet. Just rocking yourselves a little bit. Breathe in, breathe out. Now opening your eyes, you can just do some stretchings around. Stretch up a little bit. Move shoulders. And now we are ready to go on. I feel a little bit better now. Okay, could you do the exercise? How are you feeling now? Some comments in the chat? Have to check the time, okay? We are moving into action right now after this short pause. Probably you will feel more relaxed, but at the same time, you will be able to focus better, because when our brain gets oxygen, of course, our capacity to concentrate is higher. Okay, thank you for your comments. Great. So let's move on into some activities. But before that, remember my 6 basic ideas about mindfulness in education. We already covered the first 3. Now we'll go into 4, 5, and 6. Number 4, this is not about religion. This is about helping our students and ourselves perform better in our lives. Number 5, it is a safe, nurturing learning environment. This is what we want to create. This is what we want to groom and boost through these mindfulness activities that are not and have nothing to do with religion. And Last but not least, I left the most important to the end. Start with yourselves. I extremely recommend practicing mindfulness as teachers, and I will share some evidence later on the outcomes and impacts of that. Okay, so some practical ideas. This is for young students. The first idea probably is one that you might know, that is a mind jar. I have here with me my mind jar to share with you. This is a very simple container. And what I have done, probably you cannot see it now, but now I will shake it and you will be able to see it. I have incorporated into this water some glitter glue. You know, this glue that comes with glittery things? So the idea of the mind jar is to create an anchor of attention. In mindfulness for education, we work anchoring our attention so that the distractions, the stress does not feel so appealing to our minds. So this is an activity where we will use two different types of anchor. The first anchor will be our breathing. The second anchor will be visual. You will focus, as you can see on the picture, these are real students from real schools. Of course, their images are blurred because of confidentiality and keeping their privacy safe. But you can see that they are focusing and they are really paying attention to what's happening in our mind jar. So we use our mind jar as a representation of our brain. What happens in our brain when we are very anxious? What goes on in our brain when we are very much into an emotion that is difficult, when we are extremely angry, when we are extremely sad? What goes on in our minds is this. Glitter is everywhere. It's confusing. I cannot see through the water because everything is very, very confusing and everything in our mind is not clear. So the idea of this mind jar exercise is to start breathing in and out while we watch the glitter settle down. So I am using my visual anchor. I am using my breathing as an anchor of attention. So students focus on the glittering settling down while they breathe through the nose, in through the nose, out through the nose, because we are trying to calm down. We are trying to help our mind focus through the settling down of the glitter. I don't know if you can see it through this session, but probably you can imagine it. And it works for all ages. Let me just share an anecdote. Once, because I've been working with these programs with schools for more than 5 years now, helping them develop social and emotional learning and mindfulness programs for all levels. This was a situation, we had a parents meeting. We had a meeting with parents of primary school where we wanted to share some tools for conscious parenting, emotional regulation, and so on. And so we had been working with students similar to this picture on the mind jar. And there is this parent that comes up to me and says, I don't want to share this publicly. But since you asked us to do, because we asked to do one at home, you know what? I just took my mind jar to my job because I have one of these bosses that I feel like killing him like almost twice a week. So I got my mind jar in my drawer, and whenever I need it, whenever I need to calm down, whenever I need to regulate my anger and my emotions, I just go to the bathroom, I do my breathings, and I calm down. I feel better. I think that I can regulate my emotions better and think more clearly. So it's not only for kids, okay? It works at all ages. Picture number 2, whenever you've got the takeaway seal, it's an exercise that I am suggesting you start using with your students. Of course, you can do this online or face-to-face. What you see in the picture, of course, is our students doing this face-to-face, but this is using our breathing again. So probably you can notice that there is something on their belly. So you can use like a small teddy bear. I think there is one somewhere here. Let me just try to find here. So this is the one that I use. Sorry, I disappeared. This is the one I use with my girl. So it can be any object, but it has to be small and light. Why? Because we want to place this on our student's belly, so that whenever they breathe in, and we say, we are taking our friend for a journey in the sea. And this sea is full of waves, so it will go up and down. So we use our breathing in and out to take our friend on this journey through the sea, through our breathing. Okay, so they will be paying attention to how breathing happens in their bodies, taking their friend up and down in this journey through the sea. Okay, so you can use the power of the waves, like breathing in, breathing out, and then your friend will go up and down. Of course, if you work with teenagers, you will not use these kind of elements, but you can ask them about breathing. And I will share some other exercises for teenagers and adults in a second. So these are the first two ideas I want to share with you. And now sharing very briefly that mindfulness has been researched in its application to education. And we have already identified through research positive cognitive outcomes in terms of attention and focus, emotional and social ones, and of course related to well-being, related to test anxiety and reducing stress. So the positive aspects of mindfulness in education have been researched for a while, and we already have some interesting outcomes. This is for students. Later on, I will share for teachers. So as I said before, breathing is one of the anchors of attention that we use in mindfulness, okay? So whenever we talk about breathing, now I want to share with you two different exercises for breathing. And I will need you to take down notes so that I don't lose your attention and I keep you with me even online. So now I will share two different breathing exercises that are very simple, and these apply to all ages. Number 3, takeaway number 3, exercise number 3 about breathing is what I call square breathing. Square breathing. So the idea is we breathe in 4 times, you keep your air 4 times, you exhale in 4 times, and you keep your air again for 4 more times. So in, keep it in, out through the nose, keep it in, keep it out through the nose, retain, in. So this is a square breathing, or 4, 4, 4, 4. 4 times in, 4 times to keep it in, 4 times out, and then again you retain your breath. So this is a square breathing. You can practice it because this is something that I always say. I always use this expression, especially with teenagers. Breathing is our superpower. Conscious breathing is something that is 100% free, and you take it with you wherever you are. People will not even know this. Are you in a difficult conversation with parents? Do your square breathing. Are you in a difficult conversation with students or with your coordinator or with the head of your school? Do your square breathing. No one will realize you are just imagining the square on your mind. No one will notice. You will feel more relaxed. And when we are more relaxed, our brain gets more oxygen. Our blood pressure goes down. Our heart rate reduces. And this is settling the stage for us to feel calmer. So this is a square breathing. Number 4 now, another breathing. This is a breathing exercise that is called 4, 2, 7. So write it down so that you don't forget. 4, 2, 7. Similar to the previous one, but a little bit different. So we breathe in 4 times. Retain in 2. And exhale in 7. And every time, every cycle, you do it slower. Every time you do you start your breathing with the 4 again, you do it more expansive, slower, more expansive, so that you can start coming back to your body through the breathing. That's why it's anchoring our attention, because we go back to our body. Whenever we are in our body, we cannot hurt ourselves, okay? So these are the 2 breathing exercise, breathing techniques I wanted to share with you. Remember, in Mindfulness for Education, we use anchors of attention, breathing being one of the most important ones. But there is a connection between tests and mindfulness. So what do we know about it? And this is, again, research. There is a large body of research that suggests that meditation and mindfulness can help to relieve stress and anxiety, and they can provide an excellent means for relieving exam-induced stress and gathering your thoughts during your study period. So it's not only at the test situation, but during test preparation periods as well. We know that they have a capacity to improve their academic performance through enhancing their memory. If we can focus better, we can think better, we can remember knowledge better. And lots of time, of course, it is applied to study that is inefficient simply because the mind is tired or even clogged and therefore unreceptive. How many times do we hear these stories of students studying the whole night previous to the test? And this is the worst thing ever to do to our brains, okay? Our brains, for clarity and for improved performance, need water, oxygen, sleep. So this is basic again, okay? When helping our students prepare in a more integral way, in a more holistic approach. Okay, and here I have another technique for you. This is for younger students. The 4 breathing techniques, you can adapt them to young learners, but they are more, I would say, aimed at primary, secondary, and adult students. So here the idea is the calm box. And I've got my calm box here with me. My suggestion is to invite students, now that we are online, we can invite students to create their own calm boxes at home. There is something missing here. Let me find it. There is one object missing. Here it is from my box. And what's the idea in the calm box? So now we are online, students can create their own calm box at home. A tool that will be extremely useful for parents as well during pandemic times. If you are already face-to-face or in a blended mode, you can do this with your teachers. So these are different examples from different teachers creating their calm box. As you can see on this picture, Laura and Romina created a human-sized calm box. So students literally got into this huge box. You can see their names, how they decorated it, and so on. Or you can have, of course, smaller versions of the calm box with different objects to help us regulate our emotions. The mind jar could go inside. You could also have, of course, some mandalas and some crayons to paint. You could have, for example, an important object. This is an important object for me. And so you can use this as a piece to do your breathing while you hold it for some seconds. You could have something like this. So we could be breathing until we hear the bell sound. Or you might ask your students, for example, to raise their hands when the sound is fading away. So there is a sound, and they will have to raise their hands whenever they cannot hear the sound anymore. Okay? What else could be in here? Whatever you choose. As you can see, teachers chose to have many different things. I've got some Legos so that they can build something. The idea is to use objects to help our students regulate their emotions. What else is here? I've got some readings, a little bit of poetry. You could have books. You could have some essential oils to activate through their different senses. Anything goes. Anything you consider can help them regulate their emotions. So the Calm box is precisely a resource toolbox to help your students regulate their emotions. So whenever they feel worried, whenever they feel they miss their friends and the teacher a lot, whenever they feel frustrated, whenever they feel disengaged, they can just go to the box and use one of these elements as a trigger of focusing, reconnection, and emotional regulation again. So you can see in the pictures that there are all sorts of different versions of the Calm box with all sorts of different strategies created by teachers. Okay, so if you are in the classroom or if you decide to use one of these, remember that you are the ones that will choose when to use these activities. It's not a break, it's not a recess, it's not an escape from other activities. It is only used when you consider it is necessary and helpful for your students, but you decide on that. You decide when to use it, okay? So we are helping our brains move from our survival, reaction, fight or flight mode to a more calm mode and focus. And self-regulation. Before I move on, let's do very, very quickly our traffic lights again. Red for an emotion, yellow for a question, green for something new. Very quickly, so I can move forward. I have more ideas for you. So red, an emotion, yellow, a question, green, a new idea. So you liked that exercise we did together. Remember to do it every single day. It will really help. Okay, Christian says lucky. Happy to hear, Angie, that you work with CEL programs. I do agree, it's definitely amazing. Okay, so this is interesting. Good, Diana. Jose, these activities I'm sharing today are based on mindfulness. So some of them are used for helping them calm down, like all the emotional regulation techniques, but all these strategies also help them focus and concentrate better. So it's not only about getting calmer, emotional regulation, but also helping them manage their stress, okay? Delighted. Red is rage? No, red is an emotion
Mónica,
that you would like to share. Yes, Edgar.
Disculpe, por favor. Vamos a dar el cierre, digamos, oficial de la conferencia, pero usted se queda con los estudiantes para que sigan compartiendo ideas, inquietudes. Sí, queda la sala abierta. Sí, entonces
Yo
quiero
quedo,
agradecer
moderando. Yo quedo moderando, profe
a
Edgar.
los asistentes. Sí, agradecemos a los asistentes, en especial obviamente a la maestra Mónica Rodríguez por esta interesante conferencia. Para la Unidad Central del Valle del Cauca es un honor haber contado con su participación. Entonces ahora
Thank
vamos
you
a abrir
so
el
much.
espacio para las preguntas del público y obviamente quedan bajo la moderación del profesor Leonardo Prada.
Perfect. Let's go to questions. Sorry, before we go to questions, I have some other activities. If you want, you can send me an email and I will be able to share with you some extra activities as well, okay? So let's go to questions, shall we?
Okay, hello everyone. I'm
Mónica, les recordamos, un momento, por favor, les recordamos antes de despedirnos que también en YouTube está disponible la lista de reproducción de las conferencias de nuestro evento. En el chat, ahí van a encontrar el enlace para el acceso a ellas. De nuevo, muchísimas gracias, Magister Mónica. Hasta luego. Nos vemos en otra ocasión. Que estén muy bien.
Muchas gracias.
Bueno, compañeros, estudiantes, voy a estar moderando en este momento entonces las preguntas para la Magister Mónica. Así que vamos a tratar de hacerlo de una manera ordenada. La persona que quiera participar y hacer una pregunta, pues inicia pidiendo la palabra como siempre. Y please in English, of course, that's the idea, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so anytime you want, okay? Remember the link for the other videos, or for the videos, it's in the chat room, okay? So go ahead. Feel free to ask anything you need or you want. Well, okay. Luisa, you want to say something? Go ahead. Well, come on, guys. You know you have questions. It's been really interesting.
Don't be shy.
Yeah, don't be shy.
Come on.
We don't bite, right?
And
Hard.
listen, I feel all alone here, so turn on your microphones.
Yes,
I
come
want
on.
to hear you.
Monica,
I
listen
miss
to
so
your
much
voice.
Colombia. You know that I have been to Colombia twice already to present at different congresses. And this year I was supposed to be over there with you having this session. So I just want to hear your voices, your Colombian accents, which I love.
Come on, boys and girls.
Teacher,
Go ahead, Christian.
I have a question, but my English is not good, entonces is for this.
I guess you can do it in Spanish, no problem.
Yeah, go ahead.
Quería preguntarle, bueno, sabemos que el ser humano, igual que sus sentimientos, son, digamos, algo muy difíciles de descifrar, ¿no? Y respecto a este comportamiento son, creo que bases para que la sociedad tenga digamos, una justa sociedad. Sin embargo, los mismos resentimientos, ya hablando de manera más colombiana, sabemos que estos son casi imposibles de reprimir porque nosotros colombianos somos como muy llevados por nuestros sentimientos. Entonces, yo quisiera preguntarle...
Todos los latinos, los argentinos somos igual.
Entonces, quisiera preguntarle, o sea, ¿qué hacen en estos casos cuando, digamos, la persona no es capaz de... tiene que liberar esa energía de alguna manera? Puede ser que, digamos, como persona a persona varía dependiendo de la metodología. Hay algunos que son más explosivos, otros que son más tranquilos. Entonces, de manera general, estas metodologías, ¿cómo pueden, digamos, ayudarnos en generalmente, tanto niños, jóvenes y adultos?
Absolutamente. Me gustaría darte dos partes de respuesta. La primera tiene que ver con nuestras emociones. Sabemos que las emociones son información. Las emociones no son positivas o negativas. Lo que es positivo o negativo es cómo impactan nuestro comportamiento. ¿Qué hacemos con las emociones? Pero todos sentimos emociones. Todos los humanos sabemos que sentimos frustración, enojo, ira. Esto es natural al ser humano, es inherente al ser humano. Entonces, esta es la primera idea que es muy importante para la regulación emocional, precisamente, que es la de habitar nuestras emociones y ayudar a nuestros alumnos a que puedan reconocer estas emociones, nombrarlas para luego pensar en regularlas. Entonces, lo primero es darnos el permiso para sentir, el permiso para evitar estas emociones. Todas estas técnicas que les compartí hoy, estos ejercicios, nos ayudan a regular la emoción. ¿Por qué? Porque lo primero que se activa en nuestro cerebro es el sistema límbico, que es el sistema de las emociones. Cuando respiramos profundamente, cuando hacemos una pequeña actividad de la caja, cuando nos movemos con música, cuando hacemos algo diferente, cuando nos movemos del lugar, cuando caminamos un poco, naturalmente se está activando nuestro lóbulo prefrontal, que es nuestro centro analítico, nuestro centro racional. Es nuestro centro que le dice al sistema límbico, oh, stop, let's think about this. Let's calm down, and then we think how to react. So emotional regulation is about 2 steps. Number 1, inhabiting and recognizing the emotion. And number 2, through these techniques that I have shared today, we can regulate that emotion. The fear will not disappear. The anger will not disappear, but we are turning down the volume of that emotion. Did I answer your question?
O sea que es como si tuviéramos un freno de mano en caso de las circunstancias, por así decirlo, un freno emocional.
Claro. Tenemos freno de mano. Tenemos el freno de mano. En general no lo activamos, porque cuando estamos presas de una emoción muy poderosa como el estrés, la ansiedad, la frustración y demás, no tenemos acceso al freno de mano. Entonces, estas técnicas de respiración y demás son las que nos van a dar el segundo de pensar y decir, ah, tengo un freno de mano, mejor respiro, freno un poquito, bajo la velocidad y pienso cómo actuar mejor, cómo reaccionar mejor.
Profe, qué pena, le hago otra preguntita ya para entonces, ¿qué pasa cuando esas emociones ya no proceden del propio individuo, sino que ya son factores externos? Digamos,
Como lo que nos pasa ahora todo el tiempo con la pandemia.
en ese caso
Tenemos
¿sí?
un montón de emociones.
Sí, porque aparte de que, pues digamos, creo que ninguno de nosotros estaba preparado para esta pandemia y todo esto es nuevo. Sí. Entonces, nosotros como seres humanos nos adaptamos, ¿no? Obviamente, pues estamos en nuestras casas, ¿sí? Pero digamos que algunos no están preparados para esta clase de situación y lo que experimentan es algo totalmente nuevo. Entonces, ellos no saben ni qué hacer, se sienten como muy, no sé cómo decirlo, en un rinconcito sin saber qué hacer. Entonces, digamos, a esas personas que no sepan cómo actuar con estas emociones nuevas que enfrentan, ¿ellas seguirán teniendo ese freno de mano? ¿O a lo largo del tiempo, pues...?
Todos tenemos la posibilidad de regular nuestras emociones. Eso que vos llamás el freno de mano es la regulación emocional. Todos tenemos acceso a ella, pero necesitamos entender el sistema. Necesitamos reconocerlo. Necesitamos saber qué nos hace bajar la velocidad. ¿Qué nos hace? Quizás es la respiración, quizás, como les decía, es cantar, quizás es bailar, quizás es reconocer qué nos hace calmarnos. Esto es lo más importante de todo. Bueno, a ver si hay alguna otra pregunta en el chat o alguien más quiere consultar.
¿Alguien más tiene alguna consulta para nuestra invitada del día de hoy? Recuerden, don't be shy.
Yo quisiera compartir una pregunta.
Claro que sí, David, por supuesto.
Bueno, mi nombre es David Berruecos, soy de 7º semestre. Yo tengo una pregunta porque hay algo que está como cambiándoles a los niños o a los chicos el chip en cuanto al tema de verle el rol al docente y el rol, bueno, el chip a 3 cosas, al docente, a la educación y al aprendizaje. Hay una situación que se está presentando que la gente piensa a partir de cierta edad que ya no puede aprender ciertas cosas. Es interesante, lo admito, es interesante, porque se cierran automáticamente. ¿Usted considera que dentro de las herramientas que usted nos dio, se puede volver a abrir esa puerta?
Sí, y voy a contestarte desde lo que sabemos de las ciencias del cerebro y las neurociencias. Nuestro cerebro es plástico. Esto se llama neuroplasticidad. Y esta neuroplasticidad sucede en el cerebro humano durante toda la vida. Por supuesto, entre los 3 y te diría, la adolescencia, el cerebro recién cumple su desarrollo a los 24 años, 25. Pero la capacidad del cerebro de aprender esta neuroplasticidad está presente durante toda la vida. Esto que pensábamos que una persona mayor, una persona grande, no puede aprender algo nuevo, es un mito. Hoy sabemos por las neurociencias que definitivamente se puede aprender a cualquier edad. Por supuesto, a las personas más grandes quizás les lleve un poco más de esfuerzo, un poco más de tiempo, un poco más de dedicación. Y esto tiene que ver también con la mentalidad de crecimiento. Pero si nos dedicamos, si le damos el tiempo y si trabajamos duro para eso, podemos aprender a cualquier edad. Esto es lo que sabemos desde las neurociencias.
Bueno, muchas gracias. También, pues esto me lleva a la otra pregunta, la cual es, yo he tenido una experiencia bastante grata con diferentes instituciones educativas. Una fue
Sí.
por laborar y otras ya por práctica. Yo una vez en un colegio público, pues de acá de Colombia, pregunté en un salón. Le dije a los niños, esos que son niños, eran de grado quinto. Les dije, muchachos, ¿ustedes qué piensan? ¿Por qué tenemos que estudiar? La mayoría me respondió para ser alguien en la vida.
Sí.
¿Usted considera que ese tipo de respuesta tiene algún factor emocional que viene desde la sociedad y desde la familia?
Sí, en realidad lo primero que tengo que decir es que nuestra identidad y nuestra importancia como ser humanos es a partir del momento en que nacemos. Pero muchos de nosotros entendemos, creo que la mirada de ser alguien en la vida tiene que ver con este propósito que tenemos como educadores de formar para, como les decía, formar a nuestros alumnos para que sean mejores amigos, que sean mejores ciudadanos, que sean personas que contribuyan a la sociedad. El ser alguien en la vida no tiene que ver solamente con nuestros títulos, con lo que aprendamos académicamente, sino también con nuestro desarrollo de habilidades transversales, como son las habilidades socioemocionales, como les decía, llamadas habilidades para la vida, que por ejemplo, en términos de empleabilidad, hoy son las habilidades más requeridas. Hoy en día se requiere más del trabajo en equipo, de la empatía, de la regulación de las emociones, de la autogestión, de la autonomía, hasta por encima de lo que son las capacidades técnicas que aprendamos. Entonces, definitivamente, estamos en una mirada más integral de educación, una mirada de que ser alguien en la vida no solamente tiene que ver con lo que uno aprende, sino con lo que uno es. No solamente el aprender, sino el ser. Entonces la invitación es precisamente a una mirada más integral como educadores, ¿no?
Y el conocimiento. ¿A qué va uno?
Muchas gracias, David. ¿O tienes otra pregunta para continuar?
¿Usted considera, perdón,
Tranquilo, David.
¿Usted considera que es necesario que los estudiantes vistan un uniforme o usted considera que eso es totalmente irrelevante o piensa que eso tiene algún efecto sobre ellos?
Creo que nuestros sistemas educativos muchas veces tienen muchísimas prácticas que vienen de muchos años. Esto es mi mirada personal y mi opinión personal. No hace una diferencia que los alumnos usen un uniforme o no lo usen. Yo, de hecho, fui parte de la escuela pública durante toda la vida y no usaba uniforme, sino que usaba guardapolvo. Creo que tiene que ver con decisiones institucionales con decisiones que a veces tienen que ver con ciertas reglas de la institución. En mi mirada personal no hace ninguna diferencia, pero para ciertas instituciones sí es importante y creo que es respetable también.
Ah, bueno, muchas gracias.
Qué pena, ¿puedo hacer una pregunta?
Sí, claro, Cristian.
Claro, Cristian. Un momento, yo quiero hacer una pregunta también aquí como moderador a nuestra invitada, para saber como cuál es el límite que vamos a tener de tiempo para que de pronto también manejemos un poco ese espacio, chicos, de las preguntas y que también tengan la oportunidad de preguntar otras personas. Entonces, no sé qué dice Mónica, nuestra invitada.
No tengo problema, no tengo problema.
Bueno, maravilloso, maravilloso. Cristian, por supuesto. Go ahead.
Muchas gracias, señor Leonardo. Señorita Mónica, ahorita que hablábamos perdón, que un compañero de otro semestre preguntó algo muy importante en la sociedad y respecto a las enseñanzas, como los pedagogos o como los docentes, influyen mucho en la vida del estudiante, sino que, digamos, en la sociedad hay algo que nos enseña y es algo que nos destruye a todos por dentro, que es el ego. El ego es, digamos, el problema número uno de la sociedad. Entonces, digamos, uno en la sociedad, ¿cómo hace caer en cuenta ese problema tan inexistente o a veces tan imperceptible frente a los demás que es el ego?
Es una buena pregunta. En realidad, trabajamos desde el desarrollo de las habilidades socioemocionales en ayudar a que los chicos y todos nosotros tomemos perspectiva. Por ejemplo, cuando desarrollamos estrategias que ayudan a incrementar la empatía, cuando compartimos reflexiones que nos conectan con lo social, con la posibilidad de cambio social, cuando nos conectamos precisamente a través de la empatía con el dolor de los demás, son todas emociones, por ejemplo, la solidaridad, la compasión, la sorpresa, son todas emociones que, como yo siempre digo, nos alejan un poquito de nuestro ego y nos conectan con algo que es más grande, el sentido de contribución, nuestro sentido de propósito, nuestro poder de tomar acciones para crear mejores sociedades, para crear mejores familias, para tener un entorno de relaciones más positivas. Y todas estas emociones que te nombré nos alejan de nuestro ego. ¿Por qué? Porque nos conectan con algo más importante, con algo más grande, con algo más relevante, que es nuestro cerebro prosocial. Sabemos que los humanos somos seres sociales. Entonces, cuando podemos despegarnos un poquito de nuestra pequeña mirada, allí es a través de estas emociones como la contribución, la solidaridad, etcétera, que podemos acercarnos a emociones como que llamamos más elevadas.
Ah, listo, profe. Sí, porque digamos, uno no es pendiente, digamos, a veces, sí, porque el egocentrismo está, pero el ser humano no se da cuenta de que por ejemplo, yo me siento ahora que soy un egocentrista porque estoy haciendo preguntas. Entonces, a mí, yo me pregunto ahora, sí, porque no estoy dejando aprender a mis compañeros. Entonces, es como esa conciencia, porque uno no es consciente de lo que está haciendo. Y uno le
Es la
pregunta,
conciencia, claro, exactamente, es la palabra clave, es la conciencia individual y la conciencia social.
entonces
Sí,
yo me
absolutamente.
estará bien, porque digamos, tengo muchas preguntas para usted, señorita Mónica, pero pues yo sé que tengo que hablar a mis compañeros. Entonces, es eso, porque me viene la pregunta. Gracias, profe.
Sí, claro, con gusto. Podemos ver si hay alguna otra pregunta y si no, Cristian, volvemos a ti con mucho gusto.
I
¿Alguien más
have a
tiene alguna?
question.
Yes, Diana, hi.
Hi. It's just that I was really, really engaged to the presentation and everything you were saying. I think
Oh,
it's
thank you.
extremely important for teachers to have that in mind. And I think that
Absolutely.
nowadays, the majority of the teachers, they just think about their learning process and they leave out all of this part. And I wanted to know if maybe you could share with us the activities, the other activities you had, or what else were you going to say, including like what were they for?
Yes, absolutely. I was going to mention precisely, let me share my my presentation again.
Thank you.
Because there was one part precisely that is about all these emotions that we were mentioning, okay? And what is the nature of emotions? It's really very important to consider that we have two types of emotions. Afflictive emotions, remember that we don't talk about negative or positive. We talk about afflictive emotions, and emotions are always information. All emotions have information for us. For example, fear is one of those emotions that helps us keep secure, that is related to our own security. So fear, all these afflictive emotions have a bad name, okay? But they are really useful in terms of providing information for us. Anger is another emotion that is related to the limits. In many cases, we, through anger, can set some limits to things and to people that are no longer healthy in our lives. And the same happens with sadness. Sadness is a very wise emotion because it has its own draining process, that is tears, that is when we cry. So the importance of this is that we need to validate all emotions, okay? Of course, I am not saying, let me just be very emphatic and clear about this. I am not saying that because we feel anger, because we feel sad, because we feel anxious or whatever, we are going to hurt other people or we are going to hurt other people's feelings. This is not what I'm saying. That is non-acceptable, okay? But the problem is not the emotion, is what we do with that emotion, how we regulate it. And there are other types of emotions that are essential emotions, as we call them, are these uplifting emotions, the ones I was mentioning previously: solidarity, awe, love, self-compassion. So being able to recognize, name, inhabit all our range of emotions is very important. And culturally speaking, we have been trained to think that it is not okay to feel some emotions, that we have to leave them aside, we don't have to talk about them. And it is exactly the opposite. If we want to have a healthy emotional ecosystem, we need to be in touch with all our emotions. And we need to be aware, another thing that we have been discussing in these minutes, we have to be aware of how these emotions impact our life, how they impact our behaviors, which are those emotions that we want to regulate, which are those emotions that are controlling our life in a way that we don't want to. So my final idea was to mention the importance of all emotions in our system. All emotions, as I said before, are information, and they are extremely useful in all their cases. Okay, so this was my final idea. Again, mindfulness for educators has many benefits. As there are benefits for students, there are many benefits for educators. Many of you, after we did this very short exercise that I gave you as a gift, as a present at the very beginning, expressed that you felt more relaxed, that you felt a little bit better, and it was less than 2 minutes, okay? So research is sharing with us that all these effects that you see are a result of these mindfulness practices. So the idea, yes, is to think about a more holistic approach to education. We are not only a brain, we are not only our head, okay? As humans, we are our head, we are our hearts, we are our souls. Why not bring our whole selves to the school? Why not bring our whole selves as educators to our classes? So that was my final and last reflection for today. This was just an exercise to revise. And I have this video, okay, just for the end. Let's see if you can watch it with me. Can you hear the sound? Is the sound okay? No sound?
No.
Okay, so I will just, let me just share the link with you in the chat, and then you will be able to watch it on your own. This is a short film about mindfulness and about the mind jar that I shared with you, the technique today. So you can, I just leave you the link so that you can watch it on your own, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you very much, Mónica.
Okay, thank you, Leonardo.
Bueno, queremos agradecer a nuestra invitada por su valiosa aportación en esta ponencia. Queremos agradecer también a Pearson, que ha sido fundamental en los procesos aquí en la universidad, ha sido nuestro partner en muchos de los procesos que ustedes conocen y de los que han hecho parte como estudiantes. Entonces queremos agradecerle no solo a ella, por supuesto, por su valioso, por todo el tiempo que pasó aquí con nosotros, el espacio que sacó para compartir con ustedes sus preguntas, sus inquietudes, y bueno, a Pearson, por supuesto, por permitirnos tenerla el día de hoy. Mónica, muchísimas gracias de nuevo, de parte no solo del comité del Congreso, sino de toda la universidad y por supuesto de todos estos chicos que están aquí que aprendieron bastante y estuvieron muy contentos trabajando contigo.
Gracias, Leonardo. Gracias, Pearson, nuevamente por convocarme. Y un placer compartir con todos ustedes. Thank you very much. Enjoy the weekend. And I really hope next time to meet you face to face at your wonderful Congress. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Thank
chicos. Despídense, say goodbye. Recuerden que tenemos otras ponencias en las que pueden participar. En sus correos tienen los links y también tienen los horarios. En este mismo link tendremos problemas técnicos. En este mismo link tendremos el homenaje al maestro Gustavo Jaramillo, para que estén, por favor, muy atentos, de acuerdo al horario que hemos estipulado, ¿ok? Entonces, estaremos viéndonos más dentro de un rato. Bye. Recuerden, voy a estar aquí en caso de cualquier cosa. Les recuerdo también que tenemos la lista de reproducción de YouTube, donde pues pueden encontrar, por supuesto, todos los videos de las ponencias que se enviaron en ese formato y que no pudieron estar presentes aquí en directo. Los voy a compartir de nuevo. Chicos, pueden encontrar la lista de reproducción de las ponencias en video en el chat en este momento. Pueden ir revisándolas, pueden ir mirándolas mientras puedan acceder ya a una próxima conferencia. Bueno, Karina, recuerden que por Facebook Live, por la página oficial de la Facultad de Educación, encontrarán la transmisión en Facebook Live de esas conferencias a las que no han podido acceder, ¿ok?